Well, there always seems to be a catch, doesn't there? Let's begin. The article says that workers are in line for a whopping 2p tax cut to incentivise work, but not until, wait for it, next April. PM Rishi Sunak and Chancellor Jeremy Hunt are still preparing for a reduction in income tax and national insurance before the next general election. But due to inflation remaining stickingly high, it might not be announced until next March's budget, possibly just weeks before Britain goes to the polls. I'm sure we can't all imagine why that is, eh? But anyway, a government source told the Telegraph, "No one should be in any doubt that we will go into the election having cut taxes and promising to do more." Number 10 is weighing up whether to go to the country at the same time as next May's local elections and big mayoral tests in London and Birmingham. They could wait until the summer or autumn in the hope the economy picks up a bit more, giving them a better shot at beating Labour, who of course have a double-digit poll lead. However, MPs worry that with inflation still soaring, most people will barely feel a tax cut in their wallets. And Tory MPs have told Number 10 that delaying them to the eve of polling day would also blunt their impact before voters have to choose their next government. Ex-Cabinet Minister Sir John Redwood yesterday said, "Do it now, go for growth." Insiders say a tax cut will be front and centre of the Tories' push next year, and hope Mr Hunt will be able to outline the plans in his autumn's economic statement. A government source said cutting tax on working people is something the PM strongly believes in. He wants to incentivise work, as you can see from what the Department for Work and Pensions and the Treasury have been doing on getting people back into work. You always got to be careful with these sort of announcements, haven't you? I mean, they are good for Rishi, thinking that possibly the polls might swing towards him in the future, but of course, whether or not these tax cuts will ever see the light of day is another thing entirely, isn't it? It just makes me wonder if this is a little bit like a planned leak, hoping to get people on his side and try and beat Keir Starmer. Although, let's face it, with some of his crazy and wacky policies I've heard about, should be pretty easy to beat by any leader, which of course the public voted in. However, of course, the same does not apply for Rishi Sunak, because no one voted him in at all, did they? Apart from 100 MPs, if you can actually count them, of course. And I've got a feeling that, rather like Gordon Brown, Rishi's turn as Prime Minister will more than likely be over next year, even with, of course, a 2p tax cut. But what could actually help his chances out a little bit more is if he scrapped the fiscal drag personal tax allowance freeze that we are all, of course, putting up with at the moment, instead of cutting income tax and actually allow us to earn a little bit more before we get taxed. But no doubt they don't want to do that, do they? Because surely for them it's better to still earn some money off the taxpayer rather than letting a few people out of tax. It may not be best for the country, but of course it's best for them, isn't it? Because they still get some money from basically every taxpayer that they otherwise would not be getting. And of course, not forgetting the second and my preferred option that they could do, which actually would not be possible without Brexit, so up yours Ramonas out there. And no, I'm not talking about the people who voted Remain, I'm talking about the people who just won't shut the F up about it, even though that was 7 years ago. But anyway, they could actually cut VAT back to the 17.5% that it used to be, before they of course then put it up to 20%. Which, let's face it, would help out everyone, wouldn't it? Every day. Especially with the current cost of living crisis rumbling on. Even though, that is, we often hear that that will soon be coming to an end, but let's face it, I haven't actually seen that yet, have you? Although maybe, just maybe, they could also cut a little bit more tax, you know, if MPs weren't doing what they're doing in this video, by appearing to fiddle with something in a very dishonest way, in my opinion. Anyway, if all goes well, I should be back tonight, so make sure you click that subscribe button down there so you don't miss my next video. I'll see you in the next one.